Do we get started?
Yeah, I guess.
You guess. Wow, such a diva. Hello and welcome everyone to another great episode of Poetcast Unleashed. This is not just another episode. This is the big one. I am, of course, your usual host. I hope you haven't gotten tired of me yet. My name is Nico Vernaccini, and this time around we have a woman who needs an introduction as it is, because many of you might not have talked to her, even though you've seen her. Many of you might have talked to her, but very briefly about, can I get a spot here? Can I do this? Can I do that? But this is the woman why we're all here. This is the godmother of the poetry, our little poetry scene in Copenhagen. It is Arina. Whoa, whoa. This is the 10th episode. I call it the Arena-versary. I knew already from the first episode that I wanted you to be my 10th guest.
Yes, you
So
did.
you could tell us a little bit about, what why you created this beautiful project that we're all a part of now. We're both wearing hats.
Yes, it's a thinking hat. Uh, it's a great question. I
Yeah.
think everything started very egoistically.
Hmm.
Just wanted to read my poetry somewhere. And I had a hard time finding a place in Copenhagen where I could do it. I saw literally salon introduction or commercial on Facebook. It was in Danlile. I wrote to Rodrigo. He said it's in Danish. So in the end, I didn't go because I was like, oh, I don't know. I will not understand anything. And then he wrote to me like, hey, should we have a meeting? Maybe you want to do something in English. And both of us remember the story absolutely differently.
Right.
This is how I remember it. So he was like, why don't you start English open mic here? And I was like, yeah, why not? And with zero experience and idea exactly how and what to do, I began and I started scouting poets around town. So looking for what any kind of events where there is reading and just coming up to people and being like, would you like to read at poetry event, which didn't have a name yet? And then, yeah, the first time I think we had 4 or 5 poets. Actually, Mumbi was there, Iskra. So it was already like quite cool people. And then slowly but surely, more people were coming. But I kept on, like, for the first year, it was a lot of work and a lot of like sort of talking to people and convincing them to give it a chance.
Yeah,
Both.
that's what you did with me. I didn't need much convincing. I've always been in love with the sound of my own voice, but
That's true.
it was at another reading event, yeah, where he's like, "Hey, you should come," and I'd never really written poetry at that point, and now I can't stop. So you changed my life.
Great.
So how long has it been going for, Poetry Unleashed now?
So it's been 2.5 years, more or less. Yeah, we started in August 2023. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's that's it.
And it's been growing exponentially, right?
It's been, yes, the last, apparently I wasn't there, but apparently they had to send an audience member away because
Two.
it was too many.
Yeah.
Two,
Yeah.
okay, too many people were there. Too
Yeah.
many people tried to come, and we were over capacity at HUSET, which is our new home. And I remember biking by HUSET and being thinking to myself, well, maybe someday we can like guest here. And then I got an email inviting Poetry Unleashed to HUSET.
Wow. Okay, so they reached out to you.
They did, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So that was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I think that was my goal from the beginning, or not goal, how to say. Uh, my vision is that it should grow organically. Like whatever organically is happening is going to happen. Like I'm not going to force anything. And I if I post videos of people reading, it's because I have the energy for it, and if I don't, it's because I don't have the time. And
Right.
or someone else posts and then they collab the post and I share it. It everything happens organically. And as soon as like I get a feeling of like, oh my God, it's like an effort to do it, then I try to remind myself, wait a second, it's my passion project, it's doing well. I don't want to associate the sensation of like it's labor.
Sure.
It was kind of labor in the beginning, but it was labor of love. I felt like it was necessary, and I cared so much that audience would come and people would hear about it. And now, well, I need to have a healthy relationship with this. And I learned a lot about being in charge
Absolutely. Yeah.
from running it. And actually, this is my goal is to kind of remove myself as much as possible. So the fact that actually the last event went without me and it went smooth and everybody had a great time and there was enough audience. Well, of course, there is me being Grey Cardinal behind and sharing and
Yeah.
communicating.
PR, right? You always do promotional stuff, and
Well, yeah, well, leading up to the day, to few hours before, it's still me doing things. But
yeah,
when the event can stand on its own feet, for me, that's the most important. Like, I don't need to, my face doesn't need to be part of it. Like, for
yeah,
me, then
yeah.
I feel, then it's good.
Also, you have sort of there've been spin-offs. This started as a spin-off. I came to you one day and I said, "Why don't we do a podcast?" And you said, "Yeah, go ahead, do it." And I said,
Yeah.
"All right." You know.
Yeah,
So
again, as long as there is passion behind it and there is not a feeling of like, oh, I must,
yeah,
you know, like I don't think that's good.
yeah, and it has to be on brand as well, right? You can only put this name to it if it has something to do with
Yeah,
what we do, right?
I guess.
Many a times after I've uploaded an episode, you'll write me and write stuff like, "You should really name this Philosophy Unleashed instead." And I'm like, "Oh no!" Like, was it too off the rails? Was this episode not
I mean, it's
about
great. I think
poetry?
it's great. I just think it's, yeah, I mean, it's very philosophical, which is why not?
No.
Uh, that's just an aspect of poetry, or poetry is an aspect of philosophy.
Mm,
Depends how you look at it.
yeah. So, how did you get started with poetry? Did you start reading it or writing it first? Do you remember?
I think I was very little when I started with poetry. I remember um, an evening at home. I was probably 6 or 7. My mom read me um, Alexander Bloch. Here, I'm not gonna pull out because the books are it's
Right.
better to touch. Yes, but there he is, and she read like a series of poems by him, and I just got so inspired. And I just remember I was like dancing in the kitchen and riffing and like reading poetry out loud, like my own stuff, and my mom was like quickly writing after. And
Right.
it's quite cute. Like it was like, I mean, it was something, yeah, I mean, it was kind of all the themes from his poems. And then I remember I wrote some kind of love poem at 7. It was heartbreak, um, and then sort of kept writing little bit, like very little, very sporadic throughout my teenage years, and then stopped. And then I actually wrote down the name because I'm not very good with remembering things sometimes. Um, so I came across a book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Just edit. And I was like, I'm just gonna go. It's like a course, self-help kind of course book where you do this 3 morning pages, you do different things. Each week is different theme. And I remember that I was doing it, was about 10 years ago, I think. And I'm biking by the lakes and hearing a song in my head. And slowly I begin to realize that it's not a song that I know.
Right.
And so I remember this feeling of rushing upstairs at home, sitting down with a piece of paper and writing down the poem,
Mm.
which kind of like blah, 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 blurred out of me. I can't say, like it just came. And then from that point on, I started writing much more.
Hmm.
Yeah, a bit more consistent. It's still not as consistent as I wish, but yeah, you know,
Yeah.
all work in progress.
Have you become more structuralized in the way you write a poem, or is it still just a stream of consciousness that sort of flows out?
I think I'm better at um, catching very small hints and kind of like little threads, and then pulling it out, um, and also letting it develop,
Okay.
also leaving things and then coming back to it and developing the
Hmm.
idea. um, but I'm not better at being consistent. With like every day I write one line or something like
Do you ever
that.
think about the shape of the text, rhythm or meter or stuff like that? Or does that interest you?
Good question. I think about it. um, um, I think sometimes things come to me as like that first thing it was very repetitive. That was very melodical. There was a certain structure to it as it came. So it wasn't a stream of consciousness. It was actually like a very um, like a song like uh,
Right.
piece. So it had maybe not a rhyme, but definitely a rhythm and repetition. Um, and that I really enjoy that kind of overwhelm of rhythm
Hmm.
uh, when it happens, but I don't think I go for it like, okay, now I'm going to write something with the rhythm. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like the theme pulls it out or creates the necessity for it, I would say.
Yeah.
Visually, I really love, I'm so jealous of people who like make visually exciting poems
Hmm.
and it's on the page like interesting. So sometimes I try to work with already written poems like that.
I
But it doesn't
can.
come naturally now.
I remember texts of yours that leave like a visual image. My favorite of yours is the 37-year-old giving dating advice.
But what do you mean by visual? What do you mean by
This you
visual?
talk about wine and you talk about like lips meeting and you talk about like stretch marks or like body aging or something of the sort. What?
That's a different one.
That's a different one. Sorry.
But sure, sure. Now I thought you mean like how it looks on the page.
Oh, okay.
Think
Right,
like
right, right, right. Okay, wow. That's I've
no.
not yet
I
done that.
think it's less visual and more visceral. I'm focused
Okay.
a lot on sensations,
Yeah, right.
bodily sensations, smells, kind of the things that pull you in the moment and or pull you out of the moment, kind of
Yeah.
in this uh, the borderline, and this maybe. Uh, yeah, so there is a narrative that's happening and then there is an underlying monologue that's going on, which could be about how does my clothes feel on me, or I don't know, whatever, like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So something, yeah, that pulls you, yeah, either close to yourself or out of the situation. Yeah. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, all your answers are good. If they're yours and they're honest, then they're good. But what I wanted to ask about, like your stage presence. How did you get stage presence?
Oh dear. But I'm a dancer. I've been,
Right, but
studying.
not all of the 49 people who watch this podcast know you're a dancer. I might know, but
And I will share that. Yeah, so I started very little. Like 4, I went to my first like ballet school, and then at 9, went to professional ballet school, Baganova Ballet School. So it's like the real deal, the
mm,
hardcore ballet, Russian ballet. And well, I think it gave me as much stage presence as it took away
mm,
from my soul.
yeah, yeah,
But it's such a, because I teach ballet now and I love it so much. I have such huge respect for this art form, but like as a technique, as a technology almost. Like I think sometimes it was brought by aliens because I find it so clever and it has so much like physics and dynamics and air flow, whatever, and an understanding of anatomy. I'm like, when, how, who did
right.
this? Like, did they really make all this in 18th century? How did it develop? And was it pure intuition or was it how, like, and of course it depends a lot on teachers who
Mm,
taught uh, me, and I had to, sorry, it's my cat. I was blessed with a really amazing teacher with who I got to work one on one, and she was very nerdy and very specific and very clear. So she wasn't like demanding results; she was explaining how to do things, and for me that was
nice.
very important. So I'm like super nerdy about how things work, and that's why I still do it. Otherwise, I think I would have given up. But actually, at 17, once I graduated, I left Russia and moved to Europe because I wanted to pursue more contemporary dance and wanted to work with, so to speak, choreographers who are alive, because that was my
Right.
understanding. Like ballet is something old and it just repeats. Not true, but that was my kind of feeling, and I wanted to take off the point shoes and be bare feet and loosen my hair and do real deal, be dramatic on stage with movement. I don't know how did that work out.
Mm,
Yeah, so I did have a career as a contemporary dance. I could say I'm still sort of ish doing it. I'll have a solo. I'll present a solo on the 24th of April, actually at Lip Republic. And so yeah, it's still happening, but my main focus is on teaching right
what's the difference between a good and a bad teacher?
now. Ooh. um, I think, oh, difficult to say.
There is a difference, isn't there?
I guess, I mean, I think it's many aspects. It's not one thing. I think a true curiosity for the subject that you're teaching, that you are still curious. I don't really like to say beginner's mind because you need to have a certain backbone and confidence when you are teaching.
Hmm.
You need to, you can't just be like, oh, really? No, it's not like this. Okay, sure. But the true curiosity about the subject and about how the other person is receiving the information.
Yeah.
So the ability to adjust the way you explain things to the needs of the student that is
Hmm.
in front. And in my case, different bodies uh, cater the information, I would say. To an extent, of course, again, you can't like accommodate every single. I'm not claiming I can turn everyone into a prima ballerina, but
Okay.
to explain, to be able to sort of, yeah, there. What do you think is the
I
difference?
think you're right. I mean, when what you say, yeah, the curiosity aspect to sort of still have the student inside of you as a teacher. It doesn't make sense for a teacher to not be a student at all.
Yeah,
I also think a willingness to be wrong and a willingness to be honest about being wrong.
Sure.
Because I think both you and I are people who have met teachers that were wrong and we wanted to confront them with it. And maybe we did, but they didn't budge, you know, and we were sort of met with these rigid rules and we didn't at the time understand what the point of it was, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think there is also time for everything. But actually, going back to your previous thing about stage presence, when I started reading my work, it felt like I'm starting from scratch completely
Okay.
because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
My microphone was shaking, the phone or the paper was, I was complete. It was very hard. It took me a little while, yeah, or a long while, I would say, to feel comfortable. Yeah, so I don't know. I did. Thank you for first of all saying that I have stage presence, but I am not a stranger to stage and how to
Yeah.
deal with how to sort of also deal with the nerves or deal with things not going right, or yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My compliment comes from observation. It's just observing what's already there. It's not something that I make up. Everyone is so uh everyone gets so quiet whenever you go on stage, you know. It's you have really a magnetic presence. Some people don't know how to sort of get a room and catch a room, but you know how to do that.
Well, I don't think I focus on that.
No, right.
I
Good
don't
point.
think that is I think again, like uh, if you think that it's important what you have to share and you focus on why it's important or why it's important for you, maybe,
Yeah.
then because also teaching, for example, I teach a lot ballet to people who try it for the first time.
Mm,
And I think it was a mistake from me to sort of sometimes try and convince people that it's very interesting or it's amazing or it's fun or it's whatever. It's not about trying to convince someone. It's about, it is, I think it is like this. This is how I present it. And there you go. This is now up to you to
mm,
take it or leave it.
mm.
And it might appear almost the same, the enthusiasm, but it leaves me whole,
Mm.
and it gives the other person space to choose. And also, mm, I'm not forcing anyone into
Yeah.
enjoying or listening to it, or yeah. So I think it's again, it's just being honest about your work and being curious about it.
Yeah. Do you get excited when you have to read aloud?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, I think when some of my work, I like, it was exciting to share. The last few things I wrote, I think they
Mm,
were like, I felt this sense of, oh, I think there is something there.
yeah. You've always struck me as a like a cat person, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, someone who's like, well, don't I'll tell you what I like and it might change from moment to moment. Like don't try to box me in, don't try to categorize me and stuff like that. And I can see already now your eyebrows are going up and you're like, wait, I'm not like that at all, which is a very cat-like reaction to have.
Oh no, no, no! I agree with you. I
Yeah.
think completely. Well, first of all, they're my cats. They're just
Yeah.
in the sun. So
They have their
uh,
own Instagram, right?
yeah, they do. They
Yeah.
do. Antoinette,
Microsyllabes. Sorry.
Antoinette, Candy May. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's basically I ran away from ballet because I was so afraid of being categorized, and
Mm.
there is a lot of, or there was, and still is a lot of like if you're this height, then this is the roles you can do, and those are the roles you will never do. And if you're this shape, the same. And if you are blah 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 blah. So many, um, ideas,
Mm.
or at least you are brought up with the ideas. Maybe things can go different, but um, yeah. So that's why I escaped, and I think my whole life I'm trying to escape from being categorized. But now with talking to you, I realize it's maybe myself who's categorizing
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
As
Absolutely.
you're just trying to escape from your own thoughts.
Sure. Has ballet, I don't know much about ballet. I've always enjoyed watching it, but has it ever been reformed or revolutionized or changed dramatically?
Uh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that we perceive it, or I guess, as something that is like, okay, there is this tutu, there are the point shoes, the hair, da. But first of all, it's very different from country to country still.
Hmm.
Um, well, very different. Again, it's different to me because I'm in it. But of course, with beginning of uh, 20th century, ballet was, I don't know, well, as I was taught, ballet was kind of becoming middle grade, lower grade entertainment in Europe.
Right.
And Belarus brought ballet back to Europe, so
Who
to
did?
speak.
Sorry.
Belarus, so
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
the Russian ballet's kind of enterprise, entreprise of Diaghilev and Stravinsky, Nijinsky, Fokin, all these guys. Amazing visual artists, painters, composers, and choreographers, of course, and dancers. Anna Pavlova, the cake, the dessert. So they all kind of came with this one act ballet. So it was compact. um, it was, I guess, quite delicious visually, musically interesting because it was modern, more modern music, and that what gave a new wave to ballet. Then Balanchine, also Balanchivadze, actually Georgian, but same school as me, St. Petersburg Ballet School, Maganova. He's from the same gang of Belarus. He went to New York, and he started New York Ballet Theater, for better or worse, of course. But he created a whole movement in ballet, which is kind of um, abstract, where there is not no story.
Hmm.
And he worked with very complex music, and so art for art's sake, if you put it in this. And then at the same time, 1913, Le Sacre du Printemps, the Rites of Spring, Stravinsky, that was still ballet, which now we would call it contemporary dance, but that was a whole,
Wow.
the whole theater was like basically what Timothy Chalamet did now. But back then it was the music of Stravinsky. So after first like minute or less of the music, half of the audience was shouting, "Stop this!" and half
Mm.
of the audience, "Shut up, let us listen."
Yeah.
Dancers couldn't hear the orchestra. The choreographer was backstage counting, and the counts were terrible. It's like 5, 13, 8, 9. It's like not square music at all. So it was very, very, very dramatic moment in the history of art, the whole thing. And now, Rites of Spring, it's like I don't know,
A
the
classic.
thrill, the or the how you call it, um, some kind of heat of
Yeah.
sort of neoclassical music. So it's almost classics now. Disney made a cartoon based on this music
Yeah.
afterwards. You know what I mean? Like it went into the masses. Without Stravinsky, there wouldn't be the movie music. The music for film wouldn't be the same at all. So it's just very funny. Also because, sorry, I have to bring it up, Timothy. But it's just, for me, it was just such a funny comment because ballet and opera is not an isolated something that happens somewhere on stage. It's I mean, it's historical. It's moving within history. It's been existing for a long time. It's been affecting other art forms for a very long time. So
Yeah.
you cannot say, like, yeah, it's very strange what he
And
said
his comment was that nobody watches the ballet or opera anymore.
about opera or ballet anymore, and maybe in a sense of like less people. I don't even want to say that, but then I also thought I watched a classical music concert recently, and I saw this, and I just thought it's incredible because it's like magic. You see all these people with these strange objects in their hands or in their mouths, and then they just move together with these objects, and then music appears. And this music was written 100 years ago,
Yeah.
this little notes on the page, and now it's existing, and all of us audience, we are inside this magic for this 1 hour, and then it stops. And yeah, it just like to think about this, and how much effort it took each of those people to learn this instrument, and the people who make those instruments, and all this, like, just to me, it just is so beautiful. And I think the stage art and the music is just something so magical when it's done right as
Yeah.
well. Of course, it has to be also professional and interesting and alive. Yeah.
To his defense, he is a 20 something American from a certain generation who's part of one of the most superficial industries ever. Like, he, of course, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand ballet and opera because he's never had to sort of. It's not been a part of his history, I imagine.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
but I could also see that his comment has led more people to investigate what it is. You know.
Yeah, and I say, like, it's I wanted to write an article. It's the best thing that happened to ballet since
Yeah.
Swan,
Yeah.
you know, just because Swan, like everyone knows, but actually Rites of Spring, because that was like a big commotion.
Mhm.
And yeah, and to kind of continue answering your question, I hope that there will be a new. I think the change is happening. I think there is a change that's happening in ballet world. That there are different body types, that people who appear differently. There is more merge between contemporary and ballet in a kind of healthy way, or reforming ideas and about ballet, and also keeping the, I don't like the word respect, but it's just fascination with it, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah, I did. Like, the more I teach it, the more I'm fascinated. And then it's also, ballet is a technique. It's just so many things that we call ballet, but it's a technique as well. It's like yoga. Like, okay, it doesn't matter how many people do yoga, it's still an amazing, masterful form of movement.
Yeah.
So, it's not gonna get forgotten because someone will always practice it because it's very clever. I
Yeah.
think that's as simple as that.
I have like something I've been thinking about. Maybe you can help me with it. It's sort of related to this. I've always been very, very good and fascinated by how, like, understanding art, understanding its place in human history, what it does, all the sort of analyses one can make, um, and metaphors, and sort of it says something about human spirit. It says something about how, even though hundreds of years might pass, we still have the same feelings or the same issues. This beautiful thing you pointed out, that so many people have all contributed to this one thing, to this one point in time, where when you buy a ticket, you go in, you pay a certain amount, you go in, you're there for an hour, but you don't sort of see the, not the tail, but like the, you only see the tail actually. You don't see the big part of the animal that was all the preparation that led to the tail. And I think football is for children. Does that make sense? I think organized sports is like the biggest scam ever. Like I woke up the other day and I kind of realized that, wait, sports is actually such nonsense. Like what, like it's insane compared to art. Like wow, why would anyone want to sit there for at least an hour and a half and watch 11 men in small shorts kick a leather ball? Like that sounds like the worst time anyone could have ever. I would never want to do that. If I'm not involved in the activity of sports, I understand that it's a game we play, we move our bodies, we get exhausted, it's fun, teamwork. But if I'm sitting watching other men do it, it's like watching other people play golf. Like that sounds so fucking boring. But guess what? That's a thing as well. Millions of people enjoy watching golf. I don't understand it. It's for children, isn't it?
I well,
How can anyone be philosophical about football? How can anyone? It's just you kicking rocks. It's literally an insult.
I mean, I have a hard time with sports in general because I think we live in such a competitive society where, like, you know, bettering each other off is just such a way of being.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like if you are not doing this, then you are lost, to that point that it's like the only right way of being is to better someone or better yourself at least. Um, that I don't think that sports is what we need because
No.
it's only like pointing out, okay, the elite athletes, that's what they're doing, and that's what we should be doing. Um, on the other hand, maybe it's like tiny wars that people watch and
Sure.
woo,
Absolutely.
someone wins and great. But if only that would stop real wars, then I would be for it. But it doesn't
Yeah.
seem it does.
Not at all. I think it adds to violence, I'd imagine, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like uh, I'm always thinking, like, look at nurses who save people every day,
Yeah.
and then there are football players who earn millions.
Yeah.
And I just don't really understand. But there are a lot of things about this society which I have a very hard time understanding. Like,
I'm glad we're on the same page, surrounded, because told my girlfriend about this, and she's like, "That's not you collect action figure. You collect literal toys. Like, who are you to judge for something being childish?" Where I said, "Well, toys show the human anatomy. It shows spirit. It shows it's about manufacturing of the thing. It's a consumer product that allows you to sort of delve into the history of what consumerism is. It's a little idol of a fictional god. There's mythology involved in it. I see none of that in football. Sorry.
well, no, there is a lot of idolization. I think that's basically why it's also so
Yeah.
big, because there is a idolization of the players and their life stories sometimes and how they are, and I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know enough to be able to really participate. The only thing I know is that it's kind of um, yeah. If there is so much money invested in something and so much attention put into it, it will kind of explode. It's the same. I think if in supermarkets it wasn't pop music but was jazz playing, then more people would listen to jazz. I think
Yeah.
as simple as that. Like, it's also a matter of getting used to something, uh, and something being um, you know relevant, and I don't know.
I
But
just
yeah.
I meet so many serious people that have their life on track and they care so much about whose team has the most points. Like it's so embarrassing, Arena. It's insanely embarrassing. You know,
Under-
it's and tribalism is baked into it. This whole concept of war and which also makes me think that wait, so maybe sports has a huge force of attraction of people that generally lose. So when football comes on, they have a chance to win. It's our team won. Yay, I won by extension. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's really funny for me. That's very funny. But that is like on a bigger scale as well, like a pride for like I don't know. Well, also because I come from a certain country and be like Russian literature, Dostoevsky,
Hell, I
Tolstoy.
agree. I don't come from your culture. I agree with you.
But like I'm not going to be like I'm proud to be Russian because they're right. Like
Yeah,
I didn't write this. Like
yeah,
I'm not going to be like yeah. I'm grateful that I can read it in the original language.
yeah,
But I'm like there is nothing I can be proud of just
yeah.
because I lived through the same shitty weather as those guys. Like
Yeah, right.
like, what? Like to
Yeah,
me, that's just like I can be embarrassed about how the government treated poets like Brodsky or like that they've been thrown out of there. Like that I can feel for that. What the hell was going on?
yeah,
That the country mistreated its authors and artists, but to be proud myself. It's just like something I don't really grasp. I
yeah.
don't think it's wrong, but I just personally can't really relate to that. And
Mm.
the same thing for me with the team is like, great. Well, I can be like, oh, I guessed they're gonna win. So like I'm a good guesser. Like in that sense, I can be excited. But in like because I was screamed very loud at home at my TV they won,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how did I participate in their win?
That's it. Yeah, and honestly, it's embarrassing. You have these very civilized, put together people that sort of control our society, and they care so much about which color shirt wins. You know, oh, it's the championship of the leagues. Okay, what?
Also the fact that there are all these national teams, but then they also have these other teams where players are bought, so they might be playing on the same
And
team.
it's all owned by evil oil sheiks. Like it's not. It's like the worst scam ever. Like I don't understand it. But if we want to talk about boxing, the sport of boxing, oh, that's something else entirely.
Of course, of course. I don't because I don't know nothing about it.
It's
All the
like ballet for boys, boxing.
okay, okay. I just know what is his name, Rocky, of course, because I had
Yeah,
my crushes when I was
yeah.
something else.
Stallone. Also Mike Tyson. Obviously, you know him. You've heard him.
Yeah, of course. He left a message to Poetry Unleashed
He
person.
did. He's part of the lore, yeah. Listen, I was wondering if you wanted to read a poem for us.
I do. It's it's very difficult for me because I'm Libra or maybe for other reasons.
I'm Libra as well. There you go.
It's very hard to make choices. So when I had to choose, I was like, oh my God, how do I even choose? So I have a few things lying up here. If I have to say who's my favorite poet is of course Iosif Brodsky. Joseph Brodsky.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
him. And
Do you what do you recommend if no one has read Joseph Brodsky before? What should we read?
I mean, I think he wrote One and a Half Room. It's a prose piece,
Mm-hmm.
very tiny book,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually wrote it in English. Um, and I read it in both English and Russian. It's about the one and a half room that where he lived with his parents as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, teenager, and young adult in St. Petersburg. It's actually became a museum. I visited last time I was there. Yeah, so it's about it just warmed my heart on maybe sad, but it was beautiful. Yeah. So, but because with poetry, I think it's just translation. I don't know how it's translated, but I will investigate if he wrote some poetry in English as well. He self-taught English when he was exiled. Exiled, you say that?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
So because he said I'm a poet, and in Soviet times you were not allowed to not work. So he was imprisoned and sent to Siberia, and when he was there, he taught himself English.
Wow.
Yep, and then he lived in the States because he was then kicked out of the country for good. So, but I'm not going to read Brodsky. What I decided is I will read a piece by Marina Tsvetaeva, and I will read it in Russian
Oh,
because the next theme for Poetry Unleashed is apparently punch in the mouth.
yeah. What does that mean?
It wasn't chosen by me. I don't know the story behind it.
Hmm.
I tried to wiggle myself out of it by doing like a little poll on Instagram, and people still chose this. So I was like, well, okay, fine, let's do it. Because if I think about punch in the mouth poetry, I think about Svetaeva right away. Also, tragic life, but the way she wrote, the way she used the sound of the language, I will try to demonstrate. Hopefully, you can hear it. Yeah, well, but and I think not only this poem, in general, in her poetry, the sound plays a huge role. Um, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to read
Okay. Can you give us the name and the title of it, please?
it. Oof, I'm not sure there is a title. I think it's titled less, but I will look. В огромном городе моем ночь, из дома сонного иду прочь, и люди думают: жена, дочь, а я запомнила одно: ночь. Июльский ветер мне метет путь, и где-то музыка в окне чуть. Ах, нынче ветру до зари дуть сквозь стенки тонкие груди в грудь. Есть черный тополь, и в окне свет, и звон на башне, и в руке цвет, и шаг вот этот никому вслед, и тень вот эта, а меня нет. Огни, как нити золотых бус, ночного листика во рту вкус. Освободите от дневных уз. Друзья, поймите, что я вам снюсь.
Wow. Wow. It's incredible to hear something in a foreign language, foreign language for me, and still be able to identify it as a poem.
Mm.
What's it about?
It's a good question. It's about kind of a walk through the night where I would say she's trying to escape, or maybe walking, just walking away, and that's feeling of mm, between existing and non-exist, questioning your own existence, I would say, like
Hmm.
that. So it's very philosophical, and it's very sensorial as well. So it's based on kind of there's some sounds that she hears, and there is a wind, and the shadow is here, but I'm not.
Mm.
And the last line is, friends, you need to know that you're only dreaming of me.
Mm.
So I would say that kind of, yeah, and a walk through the night where you question your own existence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, would you like to hear my favorite Joseph Brodsky poem?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Please.
It's called A Song. I wish you were here, dear. I wish you were here. I wish you sat on the sofa and I sat near. The handkerchief could be yours. The tear could be mine, chin bound. Though it could be, of course, the other way around. I wish you were here, dear. I wish you were here. I wish we were in my car and you'd shift the gear. We'd find ourselves elsewhere on an unknown shore, or else we'd repair to where we've been before. I wish you were here, dear. I wish you were here. I wish I knew no astronomy when stars appear. When the moon skims the water that sighs and shifts in its slumber, I wish it were still a quarter to dial your number. I wish you were here, dear, in this hemisphere, as I sit on the porch, sipping a beer. It's evening, the sun is setting, boys shout and gulls are crying. What's the point of forgetting if it's followed by dying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I'm
Yeah.
very much
He's
in. Sorry.
younger. To me, he sounds younger in English than when I hear read in
Right.
Russian. It's just like the feeling of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Sorry.
I guess English is a younger language than Russian, all things considered, no? Well, yeah, we should talk a little bit about this anthology Poetry Unleashed is doing, right?
Yes, it is in works still because I didn't fully trust myself. Um, I have a designer giving it a last look.
Mm-hmm.
We have a meeting on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, I will see what she had made. It seems like it's pretty ready. And we just need to make the last couple of decisions together. And then I will send it out to print. And then, as soon as I know how many days it will take for the delivery, I'll set the date for the big release, which is going
Whoa.
Tilted Studio, where Christopher just opened his barber shop in Sonne
What?
Boulevard, and that's to be the
Where is
place.
it?
Yeah, Sonne Boulevard,
Okay.
Tilted
Yeah.
Studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
it will
what? It is that? That's his last name, isn't it, or what? Oh no. Oh, who am I thinking of?
just the name of his
Okay.
work.
Okay.
So we have a place. We have the reason. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have the time yet, but
Okay.
as soon as I know the date, I will announce it.
Yeah, you let us all know because we all want to be there.
Emails and public and everywhere. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know how many guests we can fit in, but it will be more for ourselves for the points. Yes. I'm very excited. I'm a little bit sad it took so long, but it's many reasons why. And I also, yeah, let's see how it turns out.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll see when you'll do the next one.
Mm, yeah. I
Right?
think the second one will be easier. I also, you learn as well.
Sure.
And
Sure.
that's-
Do you like that in general? Do you like this learning by doing, or you're like a person who needs to know everything beforehand before she does something?
Uh, Normally, I quite like to be in control and understand what's going on.
Yeah, very cat-like.
But at the same time, I this whole journey with poetry taught me so much, and yeah, and yeah, how to say, I'm excited to try new things and also ask for help and advice and opinions and yeah, so it's yeah, I guess it's a new thing for me, and I'm open to be new in it. I don't have to be the master. I can just be the doer.
You'll always be the founder, so
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
that's just what it is. Um
Had an interesting question, which you sort of we went in towards football, but your question actually was
yeah,
about the role of art in life,
yeah,
and then we went into bashing football for
yeah,
some reason.
yeah.
You forced me to join you in that, and
Yeah,
I
thanks.
I resist. I resist.
But yeah, about life and art, yeah.
Yeah, life and art. Yeah, life and art. I grew up in theater family.
Yeah.
My both parents are in drama theater, so
Wow.
I kind of grew up in art life, and it took me many years to understand that not everyone is like this,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And thank God, because otherwise it would just be artists talking about, Dostoevsky and Tolstoy and Hamlet and whatnot.
Doesn't sound too bad. What's the downside?
There needs to be people who need the art.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Also, perfectionists and stuff, like too many perfectionists in a room. And I think we are lucky because we are interested in the arts that are as holistic as possible. It involves music, it involves choreography, it involves literature, it involves so many things. If there's nothing worse for me than sitting in a room filled with only musicians, because guess what? They can only talk about music. It's like being in a room with only fishermen. Guess what? They're going to talk about all night. It's so, yeah.
But for them, it's going to be the best night ever.
Sure. But it's all, they're talking about fish. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, yeah.
I guess if you're curious about the subject enough, you have my blessing. I wonder a lot about this art and life. I think um, I remember when the war started in Ukraine, and to me, it was like the full blown invasion. I became so numb, and I remember people telling me, "Well, at least you have dance," and I was like, "What?" I'm going into a room and moving my body or telling other people how to move their bodies. Like what? What does it have to do with what's going on? How am I helping? How am I? How is this? What is this? I couldn't make sense of it at all for a very long time. And kind of the work became for a while to me like a means so I can do volunteering. So this is my way of supporting myself financially enough so I have time to volunteer. Then eventually kind of I almost burn out. As you can hear, it's not a healthy attitude. um, it was like a year almost since the war started, and I went to a music concert, again classical music for some reason. Not that I go that often, unfortunately. And it was Wagner. And I'm not a big fan of Wagner.
Controversial take.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Is it controversial?
No, it's not.
And yeah, and I was thinking, okay, with some very fancy conductor. And it was like a very fancy conductor, 31st of December.
Right.
A lot of very fancy people came, like you could see like the way they dress and everything. And then when then we were all sitting down, facing the same direction, our phones turned off for 2 hours. And just that fact that all of these people, some, from all different walks of life, we're just all sitting down in the same direction, looking out. I don't know, that gave like, and then okay, then it was magical. Like the conductor was kind of like leaving the music, like you could almost see the music, like how he was like bringing it over from the instruments into the audience, and it was amazing. Uh, but just the fact that we were not on Instagram, on YouTube, on some Amazon buying shit for 2 hours, we were all just sitting down
Yeah.
staring in the same direction. Like there was
Yeah.
something I just felt like I think this is important.
Yeah.
In in the midst of all that's going on, somehow it's important.
Yeah.
And the fact that no one is telling us how to live our lives, like for example, if with all due respect, you go to the church and there is like preach preacher or something. I haven't been in church for many years, so I don't know how it goes. Or like some kind of ritual, and you're supposed to feel a certain way depending on what type of ritual it is. No, you're not supposed to feel anything. Like you just feel whatever you feel. And if you think about making your shopping list in your head while you're listening to Wagner, then you do that. And if you are taking a nap, you do that. It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. What matters is that all of us are just stopping at the same time
Yeah.
for a little while and just letting something else happen in the room. Yeah, so that is like one of the major things right now that I feel. And then, and like few other things is like, I think what artists we kind of remind people is that sometimes it's okay to be lost. Or maybe the fact that we are all lost all the time. And sometimes it's okay to feel okay with being lost and all kinds of variation of that. And to be vulnerable or to be free. I mean, at the best case scenario, if you see someone jumping, and stopping in the air and, landing, and you're free. I remember I watched the rehearsal from Sidi Larbi Chirkwa. It's one of the greatest modern choreographers right now, contemporary choreographers. And I watched the rehearsal, and there was this difficult leave. The girls were all the way down, and boys had to leave them, or gentlemen had to leave the ladies. And girls were trying to help them, even though they are so deep that they cannot really push. And Sidi Larbi said, "Ladies, don't help them. It's okay. They will lift you. Don't be ashamed of your desire to fly." And then I thought about it later on, and I wrote it down, and I sometimes say it in class to people.
No.
And I think maybe he didn't even say it. Maybe it's something I dreamed of. You know how sometimes we come up with things actually. But that's what I think he said. And I think and I lived by that. Like, don't be ashamed of your desire to fly.
Yeah.
Like, no one can tell you. And however, it doesn't matter that maybe you jump like very little, maybe no one is lifting you,
Yeah.
but you feel your desire to fly, your desire to levitate, to defy gravity. That's yours. That's yours to do whatever you want to do with it,
Yeah.
and to feel it and to be with that feeling. And maybe for a second feel like you're flying.
Absolutely. It reminds me of a quote by Douglas Adams, one of the great science fiction writers who did A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And he says, there is an art to flying. Uh, to 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 fly is to try to hit the ground and keep missing. And I
Right.
kind of rephrase it as like, don't look at the impossibility of flying. So rephrase it as something you know how to do already, which is to hit the ground. Just keep missing, which is such a humorous way of doing it. Um, your first point about this thing with, I thought a lot about. I've gone to temple a lot. I've gone to mosques, to different kinds of church, to synagogue. I've prayed with the best of them, right? I've always tried to find God in a building. I thought God was like a ghost in a machine. I thought if you went to the right building at the right time, guess what? God will be there, right? And God never appeared. I did all the things. I washed my hands. I washed my elbows. I took off my shoes. I put on the right hat. I took off the wrong hat. Uh, I bathed. I rinsed. I was baptized. I did all the things. God has never shown himself to me, not in church. All I've seen is the interior of it. I've seen the gold, the marble. I've seen the statues. I've seen the suffering, the pain, the reminder that everything is shit and then you die. And if you're lucky and you behave, there'll be an afterlife. But God has never appeared. What I have felt is, I don't know what the name of the emotion is, but it's the emotion you talk of, where all of us are going to sit and talk, no, and not talk, but we're all going to sit and look in the same direction. It's a form of solidarity that can be pushed, or sort of, it can be, I love theater because I know that it is the purest, easiest way to emotionally manipulate someone, like a whole room. Like, I don't want to emotionally abuse my girlfriend or my dad, right? Give me 150 people. You know what I mean? I want a room. And it took me years to get to that point where I could sort of say, well, that's part of why I love theater, because that's sort of what you do, is you invite people in, they pay you money to get invited in, and then their emotions are there for you to do with what you will. And unfortunately, that part of it does not exist in church. Not it appears very rarely, because church for many people is something that's boring. It's routine. It's a chore. It's something you have to do. We could be psychoanalytic about it and say it's because you're supposed to go to church and enjoy it. Damn it! You can't sit there and be bored. That's not the point of church. Church is a place you go to enjoy being a lamb of God. But church is boring. It is what it is. Theater is not supposed to be boring. That's the number one rule: is do not be boring. So theater has a leg up on church. Like, church will never be as exciting as theater. But it's a place for people to experience that sort of, it should have a name, this emotion. It's solidarity, where all of us are looking in the same direction. The Muslims are very good at it because there's this whole concept of you have to face Mecca. The other religions don't really use that. But like this idea of there's something out there in the world, a physical place, that if you face it, if you find the right angle, you're not alone, because there'll be billions of other people who are facing the same direction as you. There's something so beautiful, so human about that. And I'm realizing now that's what football is. Football is temple for heathens. It's for people who do not have a God, who do not have spirit, that go there and all sit and look at the same little shitty field and sort of follow the same ball and experience that electrical connection with other people that all look at the same thing.
Yeah, except there are two teams.
Except there are two teams, but there's only one ball. What if there were two balls? Then it'd be mass chaos.
Yeah, but then there are two teams, so there is a devil and God who is having a
Yeah,
fight every
sure.
time or what?
That's the tribal part, but I think it's the ball. You have to keep the eye on the ball, as they say. That's a football metaphor, right? The ball is all the same. The ball does not take favorites. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Oh.
sure, sport is a religion. Yes, dear. We came up with a very deep thought today. That's good. Sure. See, I mean, I'm pretty sure I would say that theater and religion, I guess, in the beginning came from the same root. I mean,
Yeah. The
it's
liars.
that divided probably, but the dance, the music, it was all ritualistic, and then the rituals became uh, religious, and other rituals became sacrilegious, or how you say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, someone is going to make an appearance. I'm going to force it.
Yes. And that's Antoinette.
That's Candy May.
Candy May. Hey, darling. Oh, look at you.
Hello. She normally just she comes, but She comes when she feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
As they do. Yeah.
As they
The other one
do. I was just about to say, as they do.
over there.
Um, when is the next Poetry Unleashed? Oh, she's up there.
Yeah, she's in the tree. I don't know how to do it. Yeah. I'm not very good with camera.
That's fine. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to all our poets' cats.
Also,
Um,
like religion and sports and theater. I think we should do like a little discussion club. Invite
please.
for the head of each, department
Yeah.
and
And they
little.
all wear the stupid hats, you know. There's a
Yeah,
beret for the dramaturg and a cardinal's hat, and
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Basically, it will be about who's wearing the coolest hat.
yeah.
Yeah, next Poetry Unleashed is on April 24th at HUSET. The theme is Punch in the Mouse or
The,
on the mouse, but I wrote in. I don't know. I thought it's like it's punching in your like punch,
sure.
or maybe it's a punch.
In the mouth.
Yeah.
And it's at we open the doors at 7. Show
Yes,
starts
it's
at
starts
7:30.
at 7:30. Get your ticket. Be there on time. Yeah, otherwise tickets at the door, but as you heard, it's been people have been sent away because we were over capacity. So make sure you are there on time with your ticket. That's exciting. That's exciting. Over Anschlag. I don't know. Hey, I wish we could just keep talking for another couple of
I need to
hours.
go outside. I'm all jittery now. Like I got energy. I,
And I have to
you know,
teach 2 ballet classes. So there we go.
it's always a pleasure to talk with you, my friend. Um,
It
I
was super.
appreciate you. We all owe you a debt of gratitude for this. We'll keep showing up. And yeah,
I
you get your roses. I mean, so what?
Yeah, I need to learn to receive them.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you for the Poetcast Unleashed. Well done with 10th.
X10. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do 10 more. I already have them lined up. I already know who to invite.
I love them. I love them. We should, there is more ideas. I'm not going to give away because
No.
everything is just talking for now. But as I said, organically, I'm sure things will grow. And if people feel like signing up for the next one, there are a few spots available. So please sign up. New people also love have new having new voices, new faces, and yeah,
Thank you
there we
very
go.
much, Arina.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.